Congratulate Messi and his country on winning the World Cup. You see LeBron right there with the GOAT emoji and Lamar Jackson tweeting Messi. That guy's for real. Stephen A., what'd you think of that game?
Let me just say this. Listen, I started my career. It was one of the most electrifying experiences I've had as a spectator watching the sport, because here's the only thing that I want to say. Mbappe, is that how you pronounce his name? Mbappe, right? Mbappe, yes.
Thank you for that, Dan.
This is what I love. It's when you got a championship taking place, you want to see the elite going at each other. And him and Messi going at it, back and forth, the way that they did. That's what made it special to me. All the other players participated. Of course, they deserve a boatload of credit. But the stars showed up for the biggest stage. And that's what you want to see, because that's when true champions are really displayed. When you show up at the biggest moment, that's what they did yesterday. They gave the world a treat. It was something special to behold. It was one of the greatest events I've ever seen.
I agree.
All I know is
We begin today with the World Cup final between Argentina and France yesterday. As great a watch as you could ask for. The preeminent stars, Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe, were absolutely great. Messi had 2 goals and helped set up a third. Mbappe had a hat trick, twice tying the game. In the penalty kicks, Mbappe and Messi led off, and their aim was true. Argentina would win, but it never felt like France lost. Wilbon, what are your thoughts about the game, the result, and how we should now look at the stars?
Tony, as you know, since we talked during the game multiple times, I told you I thought it was the greatest thing, one of the greatest sporting events I've ever seen. And there's some things above it. I think I said to you, I'm not going to put it with Ali Frazier. But in my lifetime, Tony, there just aren't many things I've seen that got to me like that game. The entirety of it and all the things you very eloquently described, starting with the play of the 2 godlike stars, Messi and Mbappe. And I sent you a piece, I hope you got it, that talked about Messi not needing that win to be the greatest of all time. I'm sorry, I disagree.
I disagree with that.
I know you and I agree on, if you have a thing in a sport that is the crown jewel, to be the greatest, you got to have that. He has it. He has it now. So whatever the arguments were in favor of him, he has all those, and he has the crown jewel. He was great. Mbappe they were incomprehensibly great. I loved every second of it. I didn't even want to watch the NFL the rest of the day. The World Cup was that great, Tony. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so anyone who has watched this show knows that I don't know a lot about soccer, and I don't claim to, but I know a lot about thrilling after watching sports for a lot of years. I could not take my eyes off this. I could not. Mbappe, what he did, France is down 2-0 in the game.
Yes.
Then he ties it. Then they're down 3-2 in the overtime, and then he ties it again. So all credit to Mbappe and France. But as I've told you, the single greatest moment for me in that game was very, very late in regulation, when Messi is, I guess, right outside the box, and he kicks it, and the French goalie hits it, and it goes over the crossbar. That must have come at him at 150 miles an hour.
A rocket, as they say.
That was just unbelievable. It was a great thing to watch. But let me get to Messi and you for a second, because you have said for years that you couldn't accept that Messi was the greatest of all time because he hadn't won the World Cup, and I have agreed with you.
That's right.
But it also occurs to me, Mike, that this is a particularly American point of view, that what we do is we care about rings. We haven't even have commercials to say, he ain't got no rings.
Right.
We may be the only country on earth that gives out rings. And we give them out every single year. Every sport plays a championship every year. This guy has to wait for 4 years. For him to go out like this in his last shot, to be that great throughout the tournament and in this particular game, to coolly make that penalty kick, and same with Mbappe, when the whole world is watching you do that, that's an incredibly great exit. So if you want to say, if anybody wants to say it's the greatest of all time, I don't know enough to argue, but I will say, if you say that, no one can tell you to shut up now.
No.
There's nothing.
He did it. He's absent nothing. There's nothing he's lacking.
That's right.
So there's no argument to that effect.
Right.
I saw a picture somewhere on maybe Instagram of Messi with a smile on his face that was so authentic. and he's holding a Chicago Bulls jersey. And it doesn't have 23 on it. Doesn't have 23. That's 10, his number. But, you know, what he's thinking, when he's looking at that jersey, he's smiling.
Well,
he's
could use
equating
them.
it with Jordan. You know, and so I'm out of, there's no argument. You're not going to hear me argue against it anymore. But by the way, who's the best player today? If you had to construct an argument, you're writing a column. Who's the best player in the world today? Who you take today?
Well, I'm sure it's Mbappe. I assume it's Mbappe, but I don't follow this enough to know.
You're
the one who says it's Mbappe.
You're going to follow it more now? Did it get you? Did it capture you?
Yeah, every 4 years, but not the
whoopings. I guarantee Netherlands in trouble. Hey, Tyler, my man 12. We going on. Hey, I want Spain. I want Spain. I want Brazil. I want Germany. I want France. They got that boy Mbappe over there.
I'm not gonna choose. What time is the match actually?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Okay, cool. So I can get up and watch it. I just want to see a great match like the rest of the world, besides who's ever rooting for France or Argentina. So we will see. I mean, it's going to be a great one, and look forward to seeing two of the greatest that ever played that sport go at it. So
talking about the World Cup final, it lived up to the
prone to hyperbole, but it is entirely reasonable to say that this was the greatest game ever played, and now Lionel Messi is the greatest to have ever played it. It was storybook, all right. How about the Odyssey? This was an epic. Messi completing his journey in pursuit of the one thing that had eluded him.
Lionel Messi, World Cup champion.
This morning, it was a game that will reverberate throughout history. Lionel Messi and Argentina winning the World Cup in a penalty shootout, defeating France in an instant classic that may go down as the greatest World Cup game ever. It's Messi's first World Cup victory. This, the only missing jewel in his crown as the greatest of all time. The 35-year-old Messi, who has said this would be his last World Cup, celebrating the win with his wife and children. Kylian Mbappe, Messi's potential heir to the throne as best ever, reeling from the loss, consoled by French President Macron. It was Argentina's third title, its first since 1986. The soccer-mad nation euphoric at the win. The game between the two heavyweight nations was chaotic and unpredictable.
Lionel Messi delivers again.
Argentina leading 2-0 up until the 80th minute, when France's Mbappe tied it up, scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes. Taking the game into extra time. Messi and Mbappe each scoring once more in extra time, and it was off to penalties for just the third time in World Cup final history. Argentina capitalizing and sealing the win.
Yes! Lionel Messi and Argentina have won